Hello everyone. After talking about some of the upcoming modes for UFC 6 in my previous video, I have decided to make a dedicated video to the career mode and what I hope for it. We haven't actually seen anything of the career mode yet, so I can kinda go crazy with what I hope to see. I expect EA to drop a new trailer in the next few weeks showcasing it off, but I would still like to discuss what I hope we get and maybe see what some of you want too. I'll start with, I guess, the basic structure of career mode. Please no more backyard fights. Throw it away and forget about it. Please, it was something different and interesting in UFC 4 when they introduced it, since they heavily promoted the game with Jorge Masvidal and how his career started. But I hope they get rid of it. It was interesting and fun the first time around, but it's just dumb. I'd much prefer something like UFC 2, where you was on The Ultimate Fighter, or UFC 3, where you start in the amateurs and work your way up. Hopefully we have both the Ultimate Fighter and the amateurs in UFC 6, but knowing EA, we'll get another half-baked intro where you're fighting cans in a backyard. Coach Davis arrives, and somehow, with his connections, you've got a UFC contract and then your standard boring career mode. Another thing I'd like is to manually pick opponents. If I want to be a journeyman, then let me be a journeyman. If I only want to fight upcoming prospects and be a gatekeeper, then let me do that. More freedom would improve it so much, and there would be a lot more variety on replays too. What I would also like is actual press conferences and weigh-ins, like, how isn't this in the game yet? It's such an obvious thing that's missing. It's not a new concept either. We had weigh-ins all the way back in Undisputed 3, which released in 2012. It's a small thing, and could just be a cutscene, but it still adds to the game and immersion. The last thing I would like for this section is just more opportunities to progress. Let me fight 5 times a year, like 2020 Kevin Holland. Let me dispute contracts for more pay and popularity. I want it to actually feel like my career, and not just one I'm following. Also, let me be a champ in multiple divisions. Don't make changing divisions permanent, and if I want to go for the heavyweight title when I'm a featherweight, then let me. I'm looking at you pre-MMA Volk. Now, as annoying as the structure of career mode is, the training might honestly be even worse. One thing I heavily dislike about current career modes is the training and Coach Davis. I have no idea where that guy got his credentials from, because all the training he seems to do is CTE maxing. It's supposed to be sparing, yet your partner is trying to kill you. They seriously fight like there is a title on the line and it's so not enjoyable, but don't you give them the same energy back? Oh, you knocked them out? No training that specialty for the rest of the camp. Get knockout yourself? Have all of your stats reduced to 1 star. On legendary difficulty, training is laughably difficult. I don't want to risk getting knocked out in sparring just because the AI can read my inputs and they decide to take my head off. Something similar to UFC 2 or UFC 3 would be better. I like in UFC 2, the only risk in training is doing the same exercise over and over. The mini-games are quite simple and fun too. UFC 3 is a lot more automated with no mini-games. From what I remember, the thing I liked about that though, is it was actually possible to max out all your stats. I don't think I've ever maxed out everything in UFC 4 or 5, career mode with the stupid evolution points they added, not once. In UFC 5, by the time you have actually got high-level moves and stats, your longevity is on its last legs and you have to retire. I like the concept of the more you use a move, the level increases, but I don't like how it's implemented. The final thing I want for this section is being able to train at different gyms. If I am a wrestler, then let me train at a gym that specializes in that part. Let me learn moves from the fighters there. I don't like how it is currently with learning moves. You invite a fighter to your gym and knock them out with the move you're learning. Seems very disrespectful to me, but that's just the way Coach Davis trains. Some small things I'd like to see added or changed. Please fix the roster. I don't want to be fighting 80-year-old McGregor for the 7th time in my career. I've just knocked him out in the first round 4 times now. How is he still ranked top 5? I don't want to be fighting the same handful of guys and then all of them turn into calves who get knocked out in the first round. I don't expect this to be added, but I think it would be cool to play in specific eras. Let me choose the era where Adesanya is still the champ, or the era where Jones is still running light heavyweight. Go back even further to when GSP was the champ. I'm not sure the roster is big enough to fully support this idea, but one can hope. Not really career specific, but post-fight interviews and more ref interactions would be great. They kind of have some ref interactions where they dive over the opponent, but that animation is very random to occur. Also, the ref sometimes just leaves the octagon. I guess it's just Dean doing Dean things. Now, on to things that we are never going to get. Pride mode is an obvious choice. It was so good in UFC Undisputed 3 with the head stomps and grounded knees. People have been asking for Pride mode since forever, but one can hope they return it. Injuries actually affecting you and not being just stat changes would be interesting. Oh, I hurt my leg in training. Now I'm limping and unable to throw kicks with that leg. A proper implementation of a system like that could be interesting. The commentary could also be improved. Imagine if they actually commented on your career, instead of the old rehashed lines that vaguely relate to your career. Undisputed 3 did this well, where they mention you being injured during camp, or if you have fought your opponent before. It's small details, but they add so much to the overall experience. The final thing I will touch on is the presentation. I hope we get more world building and other fighters actually having a presence. Since social media has been a part of the last few games, maybe they can improve on it. Let me start beef with a top contender so I can fast track myself to the top. Let me do promos for fights to build hype and it not being just a button press. I hope rivalries are an actual thing this time around, and not just a scripted sequence like it has been before, as it has potential to be really good. I don't expect even half of these features to be added, knowing EA, but I feel like I've covered most areas on what I hope for. I just hope it's better than UFC 5 and they ditch the evolution point system, then the career mode will be bearable. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and what you guys would like added. Make sure to like and subscribe, otherwise Coach Davis will return in UFC 6.